Mm-hmm. Right, let's see if we can, do I have any channels here? Oh, yeah, we do. Great. Okay. All right. Hey, guys, I want to talk a little bit about this conference that we're doing. All right, let's talk about this conference. All right, so what is this conference? Okay. Okay. All right, guys, I want to talk a little bit about this Bitcoin Alpha conference that we're putting on and tell you guys because it's selling out pretty quickly. And I want to do kind of a Jerry Lewis style telethon and just try to convince you guys to apply to this conference and get in. I think it's going to be really good. Okay, so let me kind of go over this what this thing is. So first of all, we had this conference on October 17th last year, October 18th last year, called Bitcoin First. It was great. We had 160 Bitcoiners and about 20 volunteered staff come together, and we created this thing. It was like an unconference. And what does that mean? That means there's no speakers. There's no sponsors. At least there wasn't for this conference. And we had 160 Bitcoiners. Everybody paid. There was nobody made money. In fact, we as organizers lost a little bit of money on that one. We charged $600 for a full day, and we was fully catered at this beautiful hotel called Casa del Mar, and everybody loved it. So we want to do it again this year. We're calling it Bitcoin Alpha this year, and yeah. So let me kind of show you a little bit what that looks like. Okay, so this was actually Peg Rockaway. This is our group photo that we did with her Study Bitcoin banner that she is, bringing all over the place. She had it on Wall Street, etc. And this is me and Ben kind of just leading these panels. And these panels we had it in 4 groups, right? And there's no streaming at all. There's no YouTube videos of the thing. So it's really what happened in Casa del Mar stayed in Casa del Mar. And basically, nobody was on their phone. 100% of the people were just listening and participating. And the difference is between a regular conference where you're sitting in row 3 and you're looking at your phone or your iPad or whatever. And this is that you're participating, so you're somebody, 1 or 2 or 3 people are leading the debate, but you're coming in, you're asking questions, you're making points, and it's just nonstop information sharing. You can lead your own session. If you have a great topic, you can lead it and you can create your own group. So this is an event that was format that the Satoshi Roundtable's been using for years. Now Satoshi Roundtable is a $20,000 event effectively. It happens now in Dubai every year. I've been to 1. Ben's been to 2. It's fantastic. It's a lot to ask somebody to leave to go to Dubai for a week to a conference. This is a little bit more affordable. It's like $1,000, and you're gonna have to get a plane ticket and a hotel or 2 nights and stuff. But this is kind of this is the format, right? So it's right on the beach. That's Casa del Mar and Shutters. It's amazing, right? So we have volunteers who will pick up will do everything, check people in and everything in exchange for, coming to the event and the dinner. That's it. So, if you're in LA, you want to help do the volunteer stuff, we can do that again. We got all these people from UCLA who were fantastic last event. And it's an invite only, right? So it's not like, well, no, we've got more than enough people wanting to come. What we want is we want to get the best, most passionate Bitcoiners out there to attend. So that's kind of it. And we're pricing it like this. The first 100 people to come will get at $1,000. And believe me, we're not going to make money at 1,000. We will not. Because we're going to have some people that we're going to invite to. We're just going to pay their way, right? So we're going to pay for their for their event ticket. They won't pay. Very few, right? But some people we think would be great, like some quantum researchers, right? Some maybe human rights people. So these kind of things, right? So basically, but basically, it's not a speaker thing. So some people were like, "Well, man, I only go to things where I'm paid to go." Well, maybe that's not where you're not the right conference for you if that's what you're thinking. Because this conference is about participation, and it's a nonprofit. So we're not making money. If we have money left over, we expect to have a little bit. We're going to give it to. We're going to create an entity for doling it out to quantum researchers to create papers on the quantum threat for Bitcoin. So I think Hunter Beast is going to come to our event. He's expressed interest in it, and so he's kind of created a BIP for the only BIP, really, the first BIP for quantum resistance, and there may be others, but I don't want to emphasize too much just quantum. But there are some people, that we'd love to have attend this thing, and so this is not a Fred Krueger thing. I'm kind of using my Twitter to help promote it, and I'm helping the organizing it. But there's me, Ben Sigmund, Kevin Kelly, also known as Puncher, Dark Side of the Moon, Scott, Thomas Young, and Lauren from Bitcoin Today. So that's it. It's really a group effort. We're trying to get everybody together. And so we started this thing Friday, right? We started saying, okay, we're going to have we're going to start at Friday at noon, and I'm going to show this tab. This is kind of our thing. So we've already had 61 out of 100 that's been ordered, right? So, this is just some of the people coming, and they're going to be great people, right? So we have people are going to, this stuff's going, right? So the point is we're getting the community together. If you're thinking about going, I would recommend you go and get your early bird ticket for $1,000. And the other thing you can do is you can kind of spread the news of this event to the people that you think should go, right? So if you know somebody who you really feel like should go, invite them. So is it Bitcoin only? Yeah, it's a Bitcoin only conference. So one of the difference between this conference and Satoshi Roundtable, the Satoshi Roundtable started in an era of Bitcoin only, but kind of has migrated into a little bit of a cryptocurrency conference. This is not a cryptocurrency conference. This is a Bitcoin only event. It's really for people who are mainly interested in what's happening with Bitcoin. And so, I'm going to share a little bit some of the topics where is it at? It's in Santa Monica at Casa del Mar. And let's just go over some of these topics. So I posted, let me see where I posted this stuff. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me make sure I can see this. Oh, no, I have to post this out now. Okay, 1 second. So these are some of the topics that, just a range of topics that we can discuss at the event. Let me put that like this. Okay. So these are kind of things that we have these 4 groups, 4 simultaneous tracks. There'll be about 40 talks, and you're going to have to pick and choose which ones you want to go to, right? And we're going to jointly, as a community, organize these talks into these tracks, okay? And the tracks are going to be investment, where do we think about the price, just the price of Bitcoin, right? Then we have Bitcoin culture, everything to do with like self-sovereignty, orange pilling Bitcoiners, etc. That's a track. Then we have macro. How are macro events impacting Bitcoin? Yeah, those are the kind of things that we're going to be looking at. And so there's going to be some new things that we didn't really talk about in the last Bitcoin that are coming up now. So I'm going to go over some of those now. Quantum, right? The quantum risk. Yeah, LA Tech Week, same week. Quantum risk. We definitely want to talk about quantum, and it's going to be a really good time for us to all get more information and give more information on quantum, right? The next thing is bit bonds. We're Dark Side of the Moon, Puncher, Maryland Hodl, and many others have expressed, we think that bit bonds could be a really interesting driver of adoption here in the TradFi market. So we're going to definitely have some talks on Bitcoin. We're definitely going to be talking about Bitcoin treasury companies. This was, we had MSTR last time. We didn't really have anything else. I guess MetaPlanet was technically around, but nobody was really talking about it back then. And now we have all these Bitcoin treasury companies, right? We had in the last Bitcoin First, we had Giovanni talking about the power law. I would like to invite, and again, not as a speaker, but I'd like to invite Real Plan C and Cena to come participate and show what their latest and greatest models are. They're working on this quantile model and on a model that's purely LLM based. So I think there's a lot there that we can learn from, the latest and greatest in kind of statistical research on Bitcoin, and also very relevant as we get further into this quote unquote cycle, right? Sort of like, can we predict it? Does the models tell us anything about 2026? Okay. Custody solutions. So a lot of people always keep on asking about custody. Be great. Great to get some people from Unchained, Casa, etc., to talk about, custody, different custody type solutions. We want to have Ben's in. Let's see. I need to give him an invite guests. If you want to jump on board right now, not a problem. Let me see, Ben. Ben's, 1 second. Okay, I'm just gonna invite Ben if he wants to join. I don't know what his status is. I invited him on DM on Twitter. That was just more convenient for me. Okay, so that's where are we here? Oh, we want to go back to this one. No, not that one. Okay, we want to go back to there. Okay. Okay, macro. Sorry. Okay. So we want to be able to sell, not us selling, but if people want to be bringing up wallets or bid axes or anything like that, we can definitely have an area you can buy this stuff at cost. AI and Bitcoin. Everybody's talking about how does AI impact Bitcoin? So that's a kind of an interesting discussion. We can talk a little bit more about AI in general. Last time we had JJ from Tau. That was a hit. I want to invite him back. Ben and I are working on some AI. I call them experiments. We could show you those. We could show you our local LLMs running on a very big model. Macro. Okay, that's a really big theme, right? And macro is a big theme. Let's see if I can even put it here. There's an invite. Macro is a big theme. I'd love to have, Infra, Prof. St. Ange, who was at the dinner last time. It was great. Just to get some macro insights, and we're going to have macro discussions. We're going to have many macro discussions on, everything from tariffs to Bitcoin strategic reserves, to all these, to stable coins and all these other things that are happening, that are happening. And look, remember last time Trump wasn't even elected last time, right? It was pre-election. There's a lot of kind of self-sovereignty, human rights things that are very relevant, I think. We'd love to talk about Bitcoin and stable coins. Stable coins, that we have this genius bill that's, progressing through the Senate right now. Options trading, since the last thing, Josh Mandel made this amazing call about 84K and on March 14th and 444K. So there's a lot of great option trading, spec trading kind of stuff. Grain of Salt was there last time, and he was a great participant, and so hopefully he'll come back. Bitcoin and Art, we had Tad from Sotheby's, and Emily and Danny hopefully can come. And then, there's this kind of ongoing no debate about should we filter spam, etc. And then we had some other people kind of weigh in on some of these other things. We'll see. OPSEC. Everybody's interested in OPSEC. How do you protect yourself, your stuff? And how do you pass it on? What's the best wealth and estate management for passing it on? Okay, I think we got something here. Oh, nope. So those are some of the things that people have said. Joe, Playful is coming. She was, part of the a lot of the discussions there. Nick coming. He's great. He's been at many of these events. Ryan Quant. Okay, yeah. I completely forgot to invite Ryan. We'll get Ryan back. Came to the last one. That was great. So anyway, so you get the idea of all these topics that we can discuss. And so if you're coming, or if you're interested in coming and stuff, yeah, we got a few people here. Okay, James Thomas. All right, James, let's bring you on camera. Hold on one second. James, how's it going? You're on camera. Maybe not. I don't know. You're on still. Oh, there you are.
How you doing, man? Yep. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
How do I get an invite? How do I get an invite to the Bitcoin?
Yeah, so just fill out. Hey, James, we have 6 people who are kind of running this thing. So just go to that bitcoinalpha.org and just, it's like one paragraph, just say, this is what I am. This is what I do. This is why I'm passionate. We don't care what you do, but we care if you're passionate about Bitcoin. That's the only thing we care about.
Okay.
And so there's 6 Bitcoiners, including me. And we're going to review every one of these things, and we're going to give out invites to them. And we're trying to pass through. We've got a lot of responses, to be honest, already. And so, we have 60 people right now who are going to this conference. And it's going to max out we can't have more than 200 at this event. And so yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to do, James. But take a look at the at the bitcoinalpha.org website, and just fill in that thing, and then everybody will take a look, and we'll get going. All right, thanks, James. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now, and yeah, I think it's going to be a great event, and we're already in the planning stages. We got several internal telegrams. We really want to get certain people like Lynn Alden there. We'd love to get Jack Mahler's there, a bunch of people. And again, this is just I'd love to get Sailor there, right? We're going to invite him. But basically, this is just a free space, it's a discussion space for the Bitcoin community to come and organize itself, right? So we're not Fred Krueger is not organizing anything here. Fred Krueger just would like to have another great event, and I'd like to just participate. And we're going to have, the great thing is these volunteers are running the show, so we're just gonna come in, hop around between discussions, and hopefully get a lot out of this event. And we're going to plan it out in advance so that we have these pre-made meaningful discussions that are people prepare. You can prepare slides for your discussion, not a problem. Oh, wait a second, we got some people here. No, okay. So we got some so we basically have some interesting people already, a lot of really interesting people, and it's going to be an information overload to some extent because but it's going to be good. And I guarantee you will not look at your phone when you're there. And what are you trying to get away from it? I think, a lot of us know each other from Twitter, right? We all know, but you'll get a chance to actually hang out with these people that you kind of know that are your Twitter friends, and you'll hang out with them, and we'll all hang out, and not where some of us are second-class citizens and no, everybody's the same level. So yeah, so that's the thing. I'm going to just go back to how you can find out about it. There's this, this is the thing, bitcoinalpha.org. And then what we do is you click apply to attend. Actually, I haven't seen this thing. So this is what you do. You put your email, and it's just one answer. How do you want to attend? Boom. And that's it. Yeah. So apply to attend. Here are the organizers, me, Ben, Tom Young. We'll go over some. Here's some of these people. So Tom, frequent contributor, friend of ours, and Bitcoiner, and all around American guy, and the mayor of Branchburg, New Jersey. Just got voted in on Tuesday again for the 5th time. So he's a mayor. And so that's one of the organizers other than me. What else do we got in terms of organizers? We have Ben, and here's Ben's bio. Ben wrote the big Bitcoin book with me. He is the co-founder of this event, is doing a lending marketplace under Libre.org, and has been mining Bitcoin and stacking Bitcoin since 2012. So I recommend following Ben if you don't already follow him. He is the most knowledgeable guy I know on Bitcoin tech. Okay, other people that you should follow. Lauren. Okay, Lauren B, runs Bitcoin Today. Is a friend. He came to Bitcoin First. He was very influential on Bitcoin First. Follow Lauren. You hear him. You can meet him. He doesn't look he looks a little bit like this. His old picture did not look at all like this. So Lauren, it's a great thing. And we have Darkside. Darkside does not look at all like that, but that's his profile. And you see him all the time in Bitcoin Today. You can meet him, hang out with him. He's an options trader, options tech guy, super knowledgeable, and I recommend following him. Then, of course, last but not least, Puncher, otherwise known as Kevin Kelly. And Puncher is an ex-Navy fighter pilot and an entrepreneur and a Bitcoiner since 2013. And, again, a great guy. And, you will be lucky to meet Puncher. So that's kind of the cast of characters who will be looking at all these, we get all these these things, the responses of the form. Then we look at them, and then we like, oh, okay, well, that looks like a Bitcoiner. Okay, let's invite that person, right? And we have Ben here. Yeah. So
yeah, if you've never tweeted about Bitcoin or you don't have anything Bitcoin related in your X profile, don't bother applying.
right. That's true. Well, also here's an example of a guy who won't get in. I'm going to show you an example of a guy who won't get in. You can't just have Bitcoin in your profile because there's a lot of people who are trying to, somehow, they're trying to somehow use Bitcoin. And one of these people is Charles Hodgkinson. Okay. So he's starting a Bitcoin treasury company. I mean, who isn't starting a Bitcoin treasury company, right? But Charles is starting a Bitcoin treasury company. And, you can watch him talk about, here's the reaction of the community is a little bit like, what the but anyways, here he is, and let's listen to Charles talk about Bitcoin.
Cardano by doing a conversion of 5 to 10% of the treasury into stable assets and assets like Bitcoin. And in doing this, we can create a yield, and that yield on an annual basis can be used to purchase ADA and over time replenish the treasury. And if this program is successful, then we can actually continue that strategy on an annualized basis, and over a period of 5 to 10 years, potentially grow to a $1 billion plus stablecoin treasury and Bitcoin treasury to augment and enhance the ADA value in the treasury that we have. This sets us up for great returns and for a pretty stable floor for the ecosystem as a whole, like you would want in any good sovereign wealth fund.
Okay, that's ridiculous. We don't want that guy. Do you agree, Ben? We don't want Charles at our Bitcoin conference.
I mean, in a way, he's kind of now advertising and selling Bitcoin to his cult. So,
yeah, I mean, in a way, it's good. I mean, they're kind of realizing that, but I think it's kind of disingenuous because a couple of years ago he was on. I don't know if you remember this, but
of course,
he had this whole thing about how Bitcoins can't survive, and like it was like I forget what analogy he used. Is something like DOS versus Windows or MySpace versus Facebook. I don't know. He was anti-Bitcoin until he was for Bitcoin. So, but anyway, so if you come in, and you say, "Hey, I'm a big Cardano fan, but I also am kind of interested in Bitcoin," you're probably not going to get in. So, and we're going to look at your Twitter. We do some due diligence. So if you say, "Yeah, I've always liked Bitcoin," we'll look at your Twitter, and if you're like promoting Cardano, you're not going to get in. I will guarantee you. So that's the event.
I'll tell you, I'm excited about just what we're going to improve over last year, and also some of the quality of the people that are coming, and the sessions that we're going to be doing are going to be awesome. So I feel like we have so much more to talk about this year. Honestly, so much good stuff going on.
I mean, look, what's new? I think quantum risk is. We didn't even talk. That was not even.
It wasn't even on the radar until January or something.
No. I think that the Willow thing was the thing that put it on the radar.
Willow, yeah.
But so I think the quantum risk, I think the proliferation of Bitcoin treasury companies was not on the radar. Like nobody thought in October that there was going to be like 7 new Bitcoin treasury companies. That's it. By the way, do you know Pomp is doing one now?
Figures.
And also Bullish.
Right.
It's going public.
Yeah, I saw that.
They have 160,000 Bitcoin. So look, and then we have, Jack Mallers is doing one.
What's crazy about the Bullish thing, I'll tell you what's crazy, is that means we're going to be able to get a look at their books.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that company makes money. I think kind of the weird trend with the Bitcoin treasury companies, that's mostly failing companies that failed at whatever else they were doing.
Yeah.
That are kind of doing a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what it seems like to me in general. But the Bitcoiners, we embrace them anyway.
Yeah. Well, you can't.
We're not picky, you know.
No. I mean, even Charles Hoskinson, we embrace his effort to buy Bitcoin.
Ultimately, Cardano is good for Bitcoin, I think, because as people start to realize that even he doesn't believe in the value of Cardano to the point where he's like, we need to buy Bitcoin.
It's true.
You know, it's pretty good. It is pretty good.
Well, look, I mean, in one way, he is right that wrap Bitcoin is ultimately going to work. Will it work on Cardano? I doubt it because I don't think anybody's using Cardano. So he's got a bigger problem that his chain is absolutely useless. It's like,
Well, he basically claimed for years that people are using Cardano, but I've challenged him many times, and he even, you know, I challenged him basically like, hey, why don't we do a little stream together? I'll try it. Let's try out some Cardano apps together. You know, I'd love to see the wallet working and just how the apps interact and stuff. And he agreed. I think it was like 2 years ago, and then sent me his assistant's info, and I followed up with her like 2 or 3 times, and she never even replied once. You know, so like in a public forum, he's like, "Yeah, great, let's do it." But then in private, he's like, "Let's not do any of those. We don't want to do any live testing of anything on Cardano." You know.
no.
So
Well, look, I think so. What else is there? So we got the Bitcoin treasury companies. You got Quantum, that's new.
I think the you know, all of the debates around the op return and the scaling of the chain and Bitcoin Core and alternate Bitcoin clients is really heating up.
Yep.
You know, that's something interesting that we can talk about, explore. I don't want to debate op return really, but I think it'd be good to look at what are the other Bitcoin clients, who's running them.
You know what we should do is that we should try to invite somebody from Core and somebody from Knots.
It would be great. It would be amazing. It would be totally amazing. Yeah.
And you know, D++, I think had suggested. I can't remember who had suggested. Like, you need to. Why don't you invite somebody from Bitcoin, a Core developer? Like, I think we should. That's we should pay for at least their ticket. Like, if you,
it would be great. Yeah, I mean, we don't. It's funny, but even though the tickets are expensive, like we're kind of at the break-even price. It basically costs $1,000, a little more than $1,000 a ticket to throw this thing.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at it today because Puncher was like, you know, asking about certain people we're going to invite. And sorry, Father's Day interruption. We're looking at certain people we're going to invite, and Puncher was like, well, we need to cover their, you know, their travel and their ticket if we invite them. And I was like, yeah, we can consider it, you know, but like our budget's pretty slim, even at $1,000 a ticket. So it kind of depends on how many regular tickets we sell. Or
I think we should have as a kind of look. If it's somebody who, you know, is like a Bitcoin Core developer, doesn't really make money, then that's one thing. You know, if we're talking about somebody who's a multimillionaire, you know, that's kind of where I sort of draw the line. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like, okay, if you're a multimillionaire, why are you know, we're not in the
well,
business.
I think something that people don't understand about Bitcoin Alpha is that it's not a conference where you're a speaker.
Yeah.
People keep getting confused about that. They're like, I'm speaking at this conference, but really there's no stage. There's no speakers. There's just everyone's on the same level having conversations. And you can be a sort of facilitator of that conversation on paper. And then when the actual conversation is going, someone else might actually be more of a leader in the conversation. Who knows, you know?
Right.
We're naming sort of different facilitators for each one, like we did last time, but ultimately other voices rise up in the crowd and end up having a big part in things. And everyone's part of the conversation. It's really kind of thing you can't plan too much, but we do have a structure, so you have to have a structure for it. But yeah, there's no one's having a special. No one gets a special badge.
No.
There's no levels.
It's not like first class, second class, you know, cattle class.
No.
It's there's no whale passes either, you know.
Yeah, and I understand that some people are, you know, their time is very in demand in Bitcoin world, and everyone wants to get them to come speak at their conference. But this is sort of an opportunity to do something different for them, and to engage with a different caliber of people than they're going to be getting at a normal conference too. You know, so I think it's a unique situation where we're all kind of paying for this day to occur together, and we have expenses from the hotel is like number one with all the food and beverage and everything to get everyone there and fed and in the same room and not having to think about anything besides what they're doing. Hi. And then we have security. We have very good security that we bring in our own security for the day. We have really great swag, like top quality stuff that you get. That's really nice.
Oops. No, there.
Everyone who comes can put out their own printed material, that we'll hand out. So there's a lot of bonuses too.
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Fred?
If you are a vendor of something, like if you have a wallet or some other kind of swag or something, we'll give it a bunch of it to us, and we'll put it in the gift bag. Now, I don't have it on right now, but Puncher gave everybody these amazing T-shirts. And everybody's been wearing those things since that conference, including me, but also I went in Vegas. Like I thought 3 or 4 people had those Bitcoin El Salvador T-shirts that Puncher made, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I think that's a really great, it's a great way to give back to the community. If you have you're making T-shirts or whatever, you can give some of those. I think it was great. We really appreciate that, Puncher. And yeah, and that was another thing. A lot of people are asking about, like, what was it like to move to El Salvador? What was it like, So how do you? I think there's a lot of stuff like on the personal finance front. Like how would I live 10 years from now on Bitcoin? Would I either by borrowing against my Bitcoin, getting a Bitcoin mortgage, etc. Peter Dunsworth is, I think, coming. And he's got this vehicle where you can kind of, it's sort of a Bitcoin backed mortgage type thing that he's working on.
Yeah, we definitely want to do a session on Bitcoin mortgages, and I think Mezzo is going to send someone.
Also, the Solana thing, I think that's another. Well, we're going to try to get that guy in. So I've talked to him offline. One of the things we really should do is everybody's got a bunch of people that they think could be. We can't coordinate this really effectively because there's no central planning committee here. So if you know somebody that really, you're close to XYZ, right? I mean, let's just encourage XYZ to come. You don't have to ask Ben or me, just like, and if they've already got an invite by Ben or me or whatever, or Puncher or, Lauren, that's no problem. They get 2 invites, you know what I mean? But like,
yeah, I mean, if you've got an invite code or link, then either someone you really want to invite them.
Yeah.
We're not gating this thing from like, this is our event together, all of us doing it together. So
yeah, if you think it's somebody controversial, just reach out to us, like Charles Hoskinson. I mean, the ultimate one is going to be Peter Schiff. I know you're friends with him, Ben, but I just don't want him in our debate. Like he could just ruin things. Like we don't want a lot of anti-Bitcoin or anything.
What about his son? What do you think about having his son come?
That totally
good.
I think that's a perfect solution. What?
It's actually pretty good. We should invite
and then we say we invited Peter Schiff's son, but not Peter Schiff to this conference.
I love the videos of him from like 20 years ago where he's like 13, like following his dad around the country, talking to like business owners about the terrible economy.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Oh, God, that's amazing. Yeah, he's lugging these kids around. He took a road trip to visit his dad in prison. And let's go see Grandpa in prison. And let's stop in all these small towns. He talks to little truckers and he's like, so how is this inflation affecting you now? Like, are your jobs, you're noticing prices rising up on your routes? And the guy's like, yeah, man, it's bad, His son's right there the whole time. So I always think Satoshi was a fan of Schiff's. Yeah, I think so. But anyways, I was thinking about who else we don't want to invite is sort of like entitled Bitcoin OGs.
Yeah.
We don't want these guys who are going to come and be like, Yeah, these conversations are a little below my level. Yeah, I don't really think I have much to add here. You know. Yeah, I took a look around. It's a pretty nice event, but
I see a
a
lot of
lot of
people post
yeah,
2013.
yeah, yeah, not really the right crowd because there's too many people, too many new people here.
Yeah.
Like I didn't care for him that much, but he
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
that is,
was always kind of like 10. Yeah.
I was trying to explain to my wife a little bit about what these OGs kind of are like. And, look, Ben, you've been mining Bitcoin for forever, but like, I'm saying there's a lot of these OG people that feel like the French aristocracy pre-revolution, like the Count of Paris or something. It's like, okay, well, it's like I had the I have the deed out to the Louis the 13th, blah blah. Like, it's okay, it's not, you don't get some medal, just because you got into Bitcoin. It's great if you got in 2014, 2015, great. But
I mean, to be fair, I was in Bitcoin before a lot of these guys, and it's more of the air of entitlement. I can think of at least one person, I don't want to name them, but they came, we kind of let them in because they were having another event nearby. And the way they walked around in there with their disapproval and said snarky things to our staff and, just were talking negatively about everything going on there and just not even taking part in one conversation at all. Not good. But that's how people show up, and I think this unconference is an opportunity to really. It's what you bring to it. That's what you get out of it. It's not. This is not a place just to come and. You can come and just sit there. You can come and sit there and not say a thing. You can just sit there and listen to every conversation that you want to be part of. But most people who come are going to be very engaged, wanting to ask questions, bring in their own opinions, and there's no gap between everyone. So that's what's really cool is that we're just really sitting around in circles having conversations. It's very good.
Yeah. Well, another person was like, I was saying, I won't say again who it was, but a quantum person was saying, well, Fred should not have mentioned that I'm a speaker. I'm like, and it's like, I get paid a lot of money to go to these. Like, no, you're probably not the right person for this conference, honestly, because we don't have that. We're not, paying for people to kind of, bring in other people. And no, that's not.
It's funny, I sent that guy a link and he was a little bit like offended. Like, you want me to pay for this thing? And I was kind of like, actually, me inviting you is an honor. You should be like, really, hey, thanks for the invite, but like, I can't fit in my schedule or something unless I'm getting paid for a gig. Like, that's fine. You can actually roll that way. But to be like, you guys aren't covering my expenses and you expect me to come to this thing? No, sorry.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. But
that's more or less it. I'm gonna hop. But
all right, cool. Thanks, guys. Happy Father's Day.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Oh, we got a few questions. Let me just say, where is it at? Good morning from Texas. Okay. Fred's mansion. No, it doesn't take place at my mansion. Status of the place is in California. It's taking place at Casa del Mar in Santa Monica. We need Josh Mandel. I agree. Actually, Asteroid, Josh Mandel's in Santa Barbara right now. So I'm trying to get Josh to come. I think it'd be great. He'd be good. Benjamin Hoddle, it was great having you last time. And yeah, great. Peter Schiff. No, we do not need Peter Schiff. Look, I disagree, Asteroid. We don't need Peter Schiff. We'll get Peter Schiff's son. I think that'll be fine. Ian, yeah. Ian is a little bit, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to say anything bad about people, but like, yeah. I think it would be great to actually have somebody who's an actual quantum researcher. That's what I think would be great. And bring them in. There's a lot. I'd like to get some people from like Bitcoin Knots too, or like let's just get a few people actually seem to know what they're talking about, as opposed to people just So Bitcoin for life. How many days is the conference? So it's really a full day, 2 nights, right? So basically, we're going to come in. It's a Friday, so you can come in on Thursday night. We're going to all get together in the bar of the Casa del Mar. We'll have, we can have an informal dinner upstairs, not plated or anything, but just like everybody gather around. And then we get in real early Friday morning. We'll have breakfast served. Then we'll have a full day of sessions with lunch and a break for, we'll have a break, and then we'll have dinner, and then we'll have, open patio, maybe even get a little jazz band or something there, and just continue on. And there'll probably be an after party too. Last time there was Anders had an after party at right around the street. So, we'll all be tired, and then we'll all get breakfast the next morning, but all over the place. So that's kind of it. Winston Smith, WS Bitcoin, knows a lot about Bitcoin. There's a lot of people who know a lot about Bitcoin custody, including myself. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're in a Bitcoin custody, Cena's got a new Bitcoin custody solution, which I don't know too much about, but if there's really no venue for like a booth or anything. We're not have a booth exhibition area and stuff. But if you have your own solution, and we're talking about Bitcoin custody, it'd be a great place to kind of bring it up, and plus you can have as many side conversations as you want over the thing. So, some people are coming from like Arch Lending. I know that there's a couple people who bought tickets there. So we're not anti you pushing your whatever solution, right? Totally fine. But I'm just saying there's not going to be any stands, right? So there's not going to be like, come over here and, panties for Bitcoin, We're not going to have that, but we might have just like an area where you can, if you want to sell something, and we'll just consign it, and then we'll have somebody at a desk saying, you want to buy a BitX or something, you can just buy it there. We'll just have one person man that desk, and then I'm sort of not thinking so much panties for Bitcoin, but wallets, miners, things like that. If maybe T-shirts. People love swag, and so we'll get some free stuff, but maybe there's some other stuff that I've got. I think I bought every single Bitcoin book that ever has existed. Of course, we have our own Bitcoin book. We have still a few, 200 copies left. This is the big Bitcoin book, and this is copy one of. This is the original. This is the Genesis block of the Bitcoin book. But last time we basically just we showed this book last time, and we sold through all of the first edition, and 80% of the second edition has been sold through. So, but we'll have some for sale. You can buy it on Amazon now. We have it on just Google bigbitcoinbook.com on Amazon. But if you have written a big Bitcoin book, a Bitcoin book, like my friend Larry Lepard, I'm trying to get Larry to come, but if he sort of indicated to me that he doesn't want to go to too many more Bitcoin conferences. But if he doesn't, I'll get a bunch of his books for sale, and you can pick up a copy of the big print on your way out or anywhere in the conference, and he can even sign them, pre-sign them, so that's good. Savannah. Yeah, I want to get a Savannah guy in. Let me see if I can find that guy. Savannah. I was talking to the Savannah Bitcoin guy. And yeah, he'd be a great person to invite. It's okay, yeah. Sanjay McCurve, that guy. Let me show you the Savannah guy. So yeah, so this guy, let me just invite him real quick. Bitcoin alpha.org. You are invited. You're invited. Invited. Okay, so he's now invited to bitcoinalpha.org. And yeah. Okay. So, anyways, so we'll invite Savannah. We'll get. We still have quite a bit of time. Amazon, our book. Yeah, big Bitcoin book. Just go there. It's $200 on Amazon. And by the way, it costs $100 to make this book. Just FYI, it is the highest quality paper. And literally every single thing is custom, including the font of this book is custom. It is the highest quality book ever made on Bitcoin, and it's really kind of what we wanted to do is kind of create the Bible of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was at 60,000 roughly when we wrote this book. So we've almost doubled in price since this book. This is I just passed this chapter, which I thought was this one page. This is really good. It's dead. Like every time people always think it's dead. And this is, this is since 15,000 and everybody's been saying it's dead. And so, Bitcoin's never dying. It's going to go up forever, Laura. I mean, that's the thing. And look, I think everybody who's going to this conference believes that. I think most people believe that it's going to go up forever. Now, it's going to have some drawdowns, some big drawdowns, but that's part of why we're doing these things is we want to kind of develop our conviction. And at some point, we're going to have a pretty big bear market, and we want to make sure that we don't sell all our Bitcoin before then, right? I think it's okay, personally, to sell some of your Bitcoin as a rebalancing, and I'm a big fan of this Kelly criterion, which is this mathematical. Let me show you something. I'm just going to just pause on this, bring something down. I'll show you. All right, so here's two books that I would say are worth reading. First of all, my friend Larry Lepard's book, The Big Print. This one's great. This is the one I bought on Amazon. He gave me another one, but it's like a personal account of his hard money views, which I really like, the personal touch. Second one, much more deep, the Kelly criterion. This is a massive book on this one formula, which basically is a rebalancing formula that was created by a guy at Bell Labs in the 50s called Kelly. And basically, it's basically how much of your portfolio should you be involved in an asset like Bitcoin. And the answer tends to be about 70%. 70%. Okay, so I mean, I could go on for hours and hours about this. And there's a lot of math in this book. This is a collection of all the papers on it. And one of the authors is Edward Thorpe. And Edward Thorpe is a personal hero of mine. He wrote this book called The Mathematics of Gambling. It's out of print, but if you can get a copy, it's fantastic. Ed Thorpe is the guy who created card counting at blackjack. And in the book, The Mathematics of Gambling, is where I first heard about the Kelly criterion. And the Kelly criterion is, how much, if you have a bet that's a random sort of, you're in a stochastic process, you're flipping coins, and the coin can come up heads with some probability. Let's say a probability greater than 50% of heads coming. How much do you allocate to each coin toss? That's a very well-defined mathematical problem. And, this guy Kelly came up with a solution to this problem. And that same solution can be used for portfolio management, especially if you have something like Bitcoin, which has a 40% CAGR kind of thing, but with very high volatility. And Kelly basically says, roughly it's about 70%. Right? You should have about 70% of your money if you rebalance annually. And so what that means is if you're at 70% of your portfolio at Bitcoin 60,000, and at the end of a year, Bitcoin goes to 120,000, you're going to be selling like 15% of your Bitcoin. But then, of course, if Bitcoin goes back down, you'll be buying some of that Bitcoin. So it's sort of a buy low, sell high kind of thing. But you can sort of prove that in many ways, Kelly is optimal. So I think the Kelly criterion is something that you should at least be aware of. I mean, this book is probably way more, like this. I'm just going to show you some of the math involved. Not for the faint of heart, right? Not for the faint of heart. But and I have a PhD in the subject, and even for me, it's like it takes a while to kind of get into this stuff. It's not really hard math. I mean, compared to kind of the math that I did, but it's relatively hard. And Stephen Perrinode, who has a PhD in astrophysics, recommended this book to me, and I immediately went out and bought it. I haven't read all of it, but I've read some of it. There's also some, my ex-professor at Stanford who I basically studied my PhD with, is a guy named Tom Cover. And Cover has a paper in here. And when I saw that, here we go, page 183. This is Tom's, there we go, this paper. That paper, that was my PhD advisor, Tom Coper, wrote this. So, and I have one published paper, which actually Tom Cover suggested I wrote, and I wrote it was in IEEE transactions for machine learning and artificial intelligence. And so I have actually an AI paper that was written in 1985, if you can believe that. But yeah, so that's getting back to the Bitcoin Alpha conference. Bitcoin Alpha Challenge coins. Yeah, we could get something like that. Look, you guys figure it out, right? This is our conference. If you're attending the conference, get on one of the Signal groups to talk to us. I want to show you this thing too. We have this, let me show you this. Okay. Where is my restream? Okay, let me add this. We have these attendee resources here. So this is the event schedule. So the event schedule is wait, so 1 second, I got a few more pages. Okay, we have LA Tech Week going on. So there's other things if you want to catch some AI type stuff. There's Recent Horowitz has an event that's right near there. And then we're all going to get together for drinks at Casa Del Mar. Friday, we have breakfast. We have opening remarks from Ben and me and Puncher and the guys. Then we have morning sessions. Then we have lunch outside. Then we're going to have afternoon sessions. And then we're going to have cocktail hour. That's maybe when we have sort of a little band stuff. Maybe, we'll see. And then dinner, probably buffet style, where we can kind of, move around a little bit and, kind of have part of the dinner with some people, part of a maybe appetizer with some, main course with some, desserts with some, different. And then we're going to continue on till 10, and we'll probably have an after party afterwards, right? So Casa Del Mar, here's a list of hotels. Casa Del Mar is expensive. Shutters is expensive. Super luxury. You can go to the Viceroy. That's really nice. You can save a little bit of money. You can go to the Georgian. Not bad. Hotel Carmel. Proper hotel, not too far. So there's a lot of things to do. If you're bringing your significant other, she can go shopping at the event, but there's other things you can have breakfast. You can make this thing into a thing to do. You can go to Venice, you can go to Palisades Park. You're not getting into Palisades Park right now. Oh no, Palisades Park. Sorry, you can't go to Palisades Park. Sorry, you can't get into the Palisades anymore. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to do if you want to do it. We'll have, you can join groups, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of other Bitcoiners doing stuff around then. You can even take a boat, rent a boat, go to the marina, go out. I might do that if anybody's interested in going for a boat ride. That, maybe we'll organize a boat trip for the marina. Casa Del Mar, the arrangements. Maybe we might get a block of rooms. We haven't really done it. We just started that thing on Friday, but if everybody wants to go through us, we can, we may do a block of rooms at Casa Del Mar. We probably should, because if we have that many people coming, we probably can get like 40 rooms and get a discount. So probably a good idea. We haven't really thought of that. I think that's probably a very good idea. We'll know Monday. Just to know, like, you can go right next door at Shutters. It's an easy walk. It's LA Tech Week though, so there will be some of these rooms, but LA is there's plenty of rooms. There's plenty of hotels and stuff in Santa Monica that are very close and very good. So not a problem. We'll all coordinate. And that's it, guys. I got to hop, but I hope you got the info. Sign up at bitcoinalpha.org, and I will talk to you guys later.